It has been, as we know this franchise is, absolutely thrilling. It really is. In front of the camera, behind the camera, off the set, waiting to get to the set. It really has been a wonderful ride. Working on the film was, I remember frigid days, I remember amazing, romantic, I can't believe I'm here days. And then seeing it, I'm sitting at the edge of my seat and I can't believe what I'm seeing days.
I noticed when I put all the movies together that usually characters were talking about Ethan and we weren't really inside his head. And so I wanted to start that feeling from the very first frame. The lesson we learned after Tom broke his ankle is there are no small stunts. Anything can go wrong. That was the simplest stunt in the entire movie. So we're always a little bit on edge. It's always a little nerve-wracking. There's always a learning curve. Every single sequence that we did in the movie is, in one way or another, had never been done before. We were inventing new equipment and new filmmaking techniques with every single one of the sequences that we were doing. We have everybody coming back from Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg, Alec Baldwin, and now we have our new team members, Henry Cavill, and of course Rebecca Ferguson, who was new to the last movie and came back again, and Vanessa Kirby, Angela Bassett, all fantastic actors. You could not be more blessed with a better cast.
But with every stunt we're doing, and we train hard, and I spent years sometimes preparing for these things, but everything we do is right there on the edge and cutting edge. Oh, I love making movies. No, I love it, absolutely. No, I love making movies. I love it, and I love the opportunity to be able to push the limit for an audience, and I want them to feel that, I want them to not watch the movie, I want them to feel the film and really experience it. The whole purpose is we wanted to make it a more personal journey. It's kind of the culmination of all the missions, and really kind of make that, and it's an epic story, but very personal, for Ethan and also the whole team. Shooting these places, practical action interests me. How can we have as much in-camera as possible, and giving that audience that experience of what it's like on Pulpit Rock in Norway, or in the streets of Paris, traveling at over 100 miles an hour down, the Rue de Opera, or in those different beautiful locations, and to shoot them in a way that celebrates those locations. So it's London also. It's just all one city the next, just to really celebrate their culture and have a big adventure with it. And that's the purpose.
As an actor, it's rare that you can forget all the little bits and pieces and you become one of the viewers. And look, when I watched it the first time, I just turned into a little kid, and I'm watching Mission Impossible again as I did 20 years ago, so yeah. It's incredibly intense. A film this budget, sure, you have a slight luxury of time to work with, you can work stuff out, you have a bit of creative maneuverability, so to speak, but yeah, no, you turn up, it's game time, you're on your toes. And before we got to set, particularly between me and Vanessa, we spent a lot of time just figuring where we wanted to place our characters, and we had a good chat with Chris as well. That all went out the window as soon as we start filming, because the whole way Chris shoots is so fluid. It's things change by the minute, things change by the day.
I wasn't too sure how much I'd be doing, but I went in there and said I'm game for everything. Assume I'm saying yes to every single stunt. Everything that's legal, everything that you guys can put me in, I'm in. The experience as a whole was extraordinary. Working with the likes of Cruise and Macquarie, these guys are two titans of this industry, and I got to sit with them every day for 141 days and ask them any question I wanted. I enjoyed doing all the stunts in this movie. It's enormous fun, and the helicopter was an extraordinary experience for me, because it's beautiful up there, it's New Zealand in the mountains, it's dancing with death every day because Tom is chasing me down and just putting us right on the edge and pushing the envelope. But it was also freezing cold. So darn cold. It was minus 15 up there for an hour and a half each take. We did that 6 or 7 times a day for 2 weeks. I was in bits every evening. That was probably one of the hardest things I've done. I was given about 2 weeks warning before I went into shooting this. And so it was a very, very quick turnaround. The training, I was just doing the usual training, which I do regularly anyway, and then we also amped up the stunt training as I got onto the production. And so it was basically training on my days off with the stunt team and just trying to get as much drilled in as possible before the actual stunts happened.
Definitely having Christopher McQuarrie be a part of this one is really extraordinary. I mean, he's got such an amazing vision. He's a bold filmmaker. And, you know, it's great to see he and Tom working together because they really essentially have a shorthand. And they really trust each other implicitly. So I think what Christopher has brought is really great. He's up the ante, and Tom always does. And what I think is not too indifferent is you get to expect the things that you love about the franchise, or like the real stunts and shooting in practical locations, like really France is the backdrop. We didn't CGI that, you know. I think that's really important for fans to see, and I think that's what keeps them coming back for more. Really exciting. I was honestly very surprised when Christopher called me and said that they were thinking of bringing Julia back, and I was really happy because even as a fan, aside from the creative part, as a fan, I thought, you know what, there is some part of this storyline we can explore a little bit further, and I wanted to, and so I think we do it justice in 6.
Chris has done an incredible job in creating characters, which basically, if you take them out of the film will have holes in them. I love that Chris decided to bring back Michelle's character. I think that created such a fun dynamic for my character to play on. It's easy to watch a film like this and think easy romance or eroticism or whatever you want to play on, but I think what's great with Ethan and Ilsa is that there's so much more to their relationship than what just meets the eye. It's trust and confidence and support. It's fun and it's challenging and it's kind of episodical, meaning something fun or exciting or dangerous happens and then you kind of move on. And we play backgammon and ping pong, table tennis. You know, it's life. And then they cut everything together and it's hyper, heart-beating dynamite.
It's sort of mind-boggling, really, how exciting the movie is. I watched it knowing all the twists and knowing the outcome, but I still felt adrenalized afterwards. I couldn't sleep. I was a little bit sort of like hyper, and I realized it was because the film had kind of G'd me up so much. I spent the whole thing grabbing Henry's bicep, which is actually quite good to grab onto. It's quite hefty. And me and Angela on either side of Henry just grabbing him by the biceps, going, woo! It was a lot of fun. There are moments of tense craziness, like when Tom's doing the stunts and we're watching them from the ground or whatever, it gets tense. But, you know, it's a long, long time. It's very meticulous. Chris McQuarrie is an absolute master storyteller, so we take our time with each individual beat in the film. So, you know, I think that's why it was so surprising to watch it all condensed into however long it is, 2.5 hours. We got unprecedented access to Paris. We got the sky, we got the ground, we got the river. You see Paris like you've never seen it in a movie before. So it was, yeah, it was a real privilege. I did everything they asked me to do in terms of, you know, I learned to drive the speedboat and do underwater stuff and all my fight choreography. That was really fun. It's a very physical job. We train really hard and we get in good shape. And even if you're not doing the kind of things Tom's doing, you want to look like you might be able to. So yeah, it was a challenge to keep that fit.
You mean when they asked me to be in Mission Impossible? Did I hesitate for a nanosecond? Of course not. Why would I hesitate at all?
Were you a fan?
Of course. My whole life I've been a fan of Mission Impossible. Love Mission Impossible. The fact that they wanted me in this new Mission Impossible, are you kidding? I was ready to do it in a heartbeat. And you know what? I do my own stunts.
You did it so well.
I know. It's amazing.
I was